Welcome to MMA Play 365. I'm Newsome, and I'm here to give you the Baze AI recap from last weekend at UFC 275. And if you thought that the week before that was crazy good, it's 71%. This weekend's even better, just short of 82%. The Baze AI UFC prediction software only got 2 predictions wrong throughout the entire event last weekend, the 11 fights, and that also picked 4 underdogs correctly throughout the event as well. And we're going to run through some of the good moments from Baze AI last weekend and where the odds implied were and where the odds based on that were at the bookies as well. So we start with the section where the AI wasn't completely perfect, but it also shown where the value was on the betting line as well. And we start in the main event with Jiri Prochazka versus Glover Teixeira. Now, the AI actually got this fight right. It predicted that Jiri Prochazka was going to win the fight. However, Glover Teixeira to win was only 47%. So it wasn't a massive margin for Jiri Prochazka to win. And so that although the AI did correctly predict the winner, Glover Teixeira at 47%, what the AI was basically saying there is even though it's saying that Jiri Prochazka's got the better chance of winning this fight, that actually the fight is a lot closer than what the bookies were suggesting it was going to be. So at 47%, odds implied, that's plus 113. So the bookie was saying that Teixeira should have been an underdog, but definitely not as big of an underdog as what he actually was. And you could have got him at around plus 185, plus 190 closer to fight night as well. So there was tremendous value on that line, and actually, if 28 seconds had passed at the end of round 5, Glover Teixeira very likely would have got his arm raised as well. So the AI was absolutely spot on there. Obviously predicted the winner correctly of the fight, but also said that the line should have been much closer, which it proved to be the case. And then we move on to the co-main event, the other championship fight in the women's flyweight division. Now, surprisingly, or pre-fight to me surprisingly, the AI predicted Taila Santos to win the fight at 55%, which shocked me. And although Valentina Shevchenko did win the fight, it would have been very interesting to see how Taila Santos fought in those latter 2 rounds after the accidental clash of heads caused her eye to swell up and close quite significantly to the point where Santos saying she was seeing double. So Santos, in my opinion, was probably winning the fight, or it was at least very close, just as that accidental clash of heads happened. So what the AI was saying is this is the biggest test of Shevchenko's career for sure. Shevchenko would have been predicted quite highly in any other fight, but Taila Santos, the AI was saying that is definitely going to give her a good fight, and a good fight enough to actually favour her to win the fight. So although the Baze AI didn't correctly predict that fight, the fact that Taila Santos's odds were absolutely wide and crazy tells you that there was super value there. Now, I'll take you through it. So at 55% odds implied, that's minus 122 on the betting line. But you could have had Taila Santos at plus 450. It would have been a losing ticket, but that's absolutely where the value was. And Baze AI was basically saying that the odds were nuts. They did have Taila Santos at a very slight favourite, which, to be honest with you, for the most parts of that fight, she looked like she should have been the favourite as well. So again, in my opinion, another solid prediction from Baze AI, even though the prediction wasn't correct this time. Ton of value there, and that's where the right side was from a betting perspective. Now we enter the solid winners section. So the first one that I wanted to talk about, Jack Della Maddalena, the hype train that a lot of people were raging about. And like I said, I was high on Jack Della Maddalena as well. I did pick Khabib to win. I do feel like he might have been the slight side from the betting perspective, but it's not one that I wanted to bet on. But Baze AI said that Jack Maddalena was winning this fight 52% of the time. So although, as I'll take you through it, there wasn't much value in that at all, especially from the closing line perspective. It was still favouring the hype train, Jack Della Maddalena, against the Dagestani-born Russian wrestler of Ramazan Emeev, who's also the UFC veteran out the 2 fighters as well. But at 52%, the odds implied are minus 108. Now, Jack Della Maddalena did open up as an underdog, so if you did get in there nice and early, there was some value at that minus 108. However, from the closing line and seemingly the settled line throughout fight week, there wasn't any value there, as Jack Della Maddalena did sit at around minus 140, minus 150, closed at minus 160. So from that perspective, there wasn't any value. However, where the value lies, you look at the knockout percentage and the submission percentage added together, and you get the inside the distance percentage at 42%. So Jack Della Maddalena, 42% to win inside the distance. Odds implied on that is plus 138. And you could have got plus 250 on the betting line. So again, a lot of value there. And of course, Jack Della Maddalena finished Ramazan Emeev in round 1. So that would have been a good cash-in ticket as well. And another solid winner, an underdog as well, Jake Matthews versus Andre Fiallo. Now, it feels like a lot of people were on this as well, and so was Bayes AI, the UFC prediction software. Matthews to win 55%, odds implied minus 122, and you could have had Matthews at, early on plus 140, you could have had him at a settle plus 125, you could have had him at plus 110 or the closing line at plus 105, and there'd have still been value on every single one of those lines. So a solid underdog pick from Bayes AI, and again, value on the betting line as well compared to the percentage that the AI was telling you from the odds implied. And the next solid winner, Jocelyn Edwards versus Ramona Pascual. Now, Edwards to win was 62%, so this is relatively high for the Bayes AI predictions percentage. 62%, it was confident that Jocelyn Edwards was going to get the job done, and there was some shaky moments in round 1 for sure, but Edwards pulled through it and eventually claimed a unanimous decision victory. There wasn't too much value on the betting line though. In fact, Bayes AI had it pretty much exactly where the bookies had it as well. So 62% odds implied, minus 163. And you could have had Jocelyn Edwards for minus 160, minus 165. So there was no value there. I think that Bayes AI was seeing it exactly how the public and the bookies were seeing it as well. But regardless, a solid winner at 62% for sure. And we're going to finish off now with the surprise winner section. So there's only one fight in here, and this is one that I was super impressed with. And that's Josh Culibao versus Sung Woo Choi. I'm a big Sung Woo Choi fan. I think that Sting's a solid fighter, really, really good. But man, Joshua Culibao lit him up badly. Dropped him twice in the first round, dropped him in the second round, and ultimately just a phenomenal performance, and one that was really eye-opening for me because we've not seen Choi in that sort of danger before. So to me, Culibao, I think, is a bit of an underdog himself, a bit of a dark horse, himself, and a fighter that you've got to be now watching out for and keeping an eye on. But Bayes AI actually had Joshua Culibao to win this fight 51% of the time. Now, although that does seem not too far off a coin flip, it was one that I was personally surprised with because, like I said, I thought Sung Woo Choi was just going to run through Joshua Culibao, and if Sung Woo Choi had been under minus 200, then I probably would have pulled the trigger on him. But the fact that he was minus 225, minus 230, I thought was a little bit too wide for me to play. And ultimately, that wide betting line saved me of a losing bet. But like I say, super surprised with Joshua Culibao. But from a betting perspective, 51% odds implied is minus 105, very close to a pick'em, as we've already said, very close to that coin flip. But you could have had Joshua Culibao at plus 190. So the value there, even though the AI was saying, look, it is going to be a bit of a close fight, and it ultimately did turn out to not be that close of a fight. I can't believe it was a split decision, by the way. But the value on Joshua Culibao there at plus 190, tremendous value. So again, super happy with Bayes AI, the UFC prediction software, nearly 82% this week on the straight picks across the board, getting only two straight predictions incorrect. Then you look at last week, it predicted 10 correctly out of 14, near 72% on those straight picks as well. It's doing phenomenal, and like I said, the more that we feed into the AI, into the Bayesian algorithms from a data perspective, the stronger it's going to get. So I'm excited for next week. We'll be back with another Bayes AI recap in the Bayes AI recap playlist on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/MMA Play 365. I'm Newsome. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again next week.